Oh, I'm so excited. I'm here today with Jordana Bernstein. Jordana, tell them a little bit about what they're going to hear on the podcast.
Well, you're going to hear a lot about mine and Carrie's friendship that has been a thing since we were, 5-6 years old. And so you're going to hear a lot about that. You're going to hear a lot about our journey as friends through life together and how we have decided to reconnect and do some really cool things.
Yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
Bye.
Today, we have a super special guest, someone who is very near and very dear to my heart, Jordana Bernstein. Jordana is an incredible educator with a master's in early childhood education who has positively affected the lives of so many children and parents alike with her compassionate heart and tactical skills. She is certainly one of the best people I know, and I am proud to call her my best friend and sister. Without further ado, let's listen in to my deep and emotional conversation with the brilliant Jordana Bernstein. This is going to be a really different episode for me. I've thought about this a lot, like a lot. I've thought about like all the things that I would say, and I know I'm going to cry to somebody who has meant everything to me since I'm 6 years old. Woo! I am not supposed to be crying yet. Should not be happening.
And I can't even hug you because I'm on the other side of this table.
I'm going to bring it together right now, so don't worry.
You got this.
But I'm here with my best friend since I'm 6 years old, since the day I moved to Dallas, since the day that the trunk of our station wagon in our carpool to Akiba Academy came to fruition, and it opened up, and I saw the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my life. It was like a light around her, and she still has a light around her, and I know everybody that knows her knows that's true. Her family especially, but everybody knows that. So I'm here with Jordana Bernstein, who I have a lot of history with. I don't even know how to...
Can we sum it up in an hour?
We'll sum it up, but we're gonna get there. Those that know us know, but we'll get to all the nitty gritty. But thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's meaningful.
Very meaningful.
I thought, like, in this journey of, I guess creative expression that I am trying to be on, really trying. It's not so easy for me yet. That an important topic would be to talk about friendship and that importance. And I think, like, as we get older, it is just so obvious that we don't make the time or the effort or feel oftentimes that we don't have friends. How often are you sitting at home and you're just like, I don't have friends.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'll hear Shauna say that sometimes, and she'll be like, I have no friends, and she doesn't mean it like badly. Like, she just like means they're out of town or whatever. And I'm like, don't say it like that. But then I realize I do it too.
Right.
But our friendship started in the trunk of a car where we were on our way to Akiba. I was going into kindergarten. You were going into first grade. And the way...
But we're only 3 months apart.
That's true. And I'm sure this is just my memory. Like, it didn't happen like this. But my memory is that this trunk opens up and your beautiful smiling face, welcoming face, because I am new to this country. I am new to this place. I don't know anybody. And this light's around you. And all of a sudden it was like, I'm going to be okay. I just knew it. Like, I just knew we were going to be friends.
I remember feeling the same thing. I think even that first day in the trunk of that car, I think we already had like an unspoken language. I remember I think I asked you, like, do you want to come over to my house or do you want me to come over to your house? It was just like automatically like, okay, we're friends.
Right. It was so easy back then, wasn't it?
So easy. Yeah. So easy.
Yeah. And then it became a, you, me, you.
Me,
like,
you,
we
me. Yeah.
where are we going?
From the beginning.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I look at our children and I think about how lucky we really were to be that young and have the essence of that deep of a friendship that really never seemed to subside. I mean, of course it has now, but like it really was like this everlasting friendship that really took us from kindergarten and my age all the way into high school.
Yeah.
You know, and then we went to different colleges, but we still were very close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting how that dynamic is.
Definitely.
So one of the things that we developed along the way that has stuck with me, and I want to see what your recollection is of this dream that we had, this like manifestation dream of like, we're going to be friends forever. And when we get older,
we're gonna marry brothers, and we're gonna buy a house together, and we're gonna you'll live in half and I'll live in half, and we're gonna share the backyard, and we're gonna have barbecues and parties with all of our children.
Yep.
And we're gonna live happily ever after.
Yeah.
Right?
We had the house picked out.
We did, because we would go looking for houses with your dad. Your dad loved to go look at houses as like a hobby, and we always were with him and going to look at these houses. And we had this beautiful house. I remember this house, right?
Yep.
It was in, what was that neighborhood? It's
like Preston Trails.
Preston Trails area, right?
Yeah.
And yes, that was the plan. That was really the plan. And we kind of made it happen, right?
We did.
We did.
It
didn't work out exactly the way we thought it would, that we
didn't.
dreamt it would, but that's life, right?
No, yeah. What would you say without me, like if you were talking about it and it wasn't just, you know, talking to me, not to make you uncomfortable, not that I think you will be, but how would you describe like the importance of our relationship to you? Because I have my own version, but I've always wanted to ask you that. Like, what was it like?
Well, I definitely, like, you're not just a friend. Like, you're like really my sister, you know? And I really think of you that way. And I think that growing up, I needed you. Like, you were a friend that I needed. I don't think that there were very few things I did without you.
Right.
We snuck out of our houses together for the first time.
And got caught, I think.
Did we?
I don't know.
We ever really got caught.
Yeah.
We did everything together. From early on, we pretended solid gold dancers. Annie. I mean, I think that I don't remember my childhood without you at all, and I wouldn't want to know my childhood without you.
Right. I would say the same thing. Yeah, I would say that it's interesting because we, as parents, we play like such a huge role in our children's lives, as we know, and we try really hard, and it's an impossible job, but we try really hard. And we think about that from that perspective, and we think about all the other roles of the siblings and all that kind of stuff. But I would say that our friendship was probably the biggest blessing in my life. That's how I would describe it. Because to me, it was this like sense of complete like acceptance.
Yes.
Complete love, respect. We were very good friends to each other. We were good to each other. We weren't catty. We weren't ugly. We weren't disrespectful. We put each other first. We were like conscious and conscientious of each other and what the other person needed. And we also had a lot of fun.
We did. We had so much fun. And we didn't fight.
Ever.
We never fought. And I think that's like, I think it's for all the reasons that you just described, because we were just really aware of each other and each other's needs and who we were, and you needed things and I needed things, and we did that for each other. Yeah. I think that like I said, I needed you, and but in like the best sense of the way that someone could need someone. And I don't know very many people that have had a friendship for so many years like the one that we had and have.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would agree that it's definitely, I see it lacking a little bit today. And again, I don't know if, maybe we were just lucky. Like maybe that wasn't the case even back then. And maybe we just were meant to be or got very fortunate or whatever that is. But I don't see children behaving with the type of respect and with the type of loyalty that we had, that we really was unspoken. We didn't even have to say it. Like it was going to be the way it is. And it's funny because we're very different people.
We are.
Like very different. Yeah. Except our value system is the same.
That. And I was going to say, and I think really we're both very kind of deep thinking people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
totally.
We both like really, I don't want to say overthink things, but we really think about the purpose and the intention behind things, or why. We think about the why in many situations.
Right.
And so I think in that way we're really similar. And I think that that's maybe what really bonded us a lot.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because we would have lots of conversations. I remember we would have lots and lots of conversations.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I think about like, even like expressing myself now. And again, I always say like poor John has to listen to me, but like, you're right. Like we are as humans, very conversational people.
Yeah.
And we now live in this world where it's harder and harder to have conversations, at least about things that matter. Maybe that's because we're so busy in our jobs and it's about fixing a lot of problems all the time. And I think we're both fixing problems a lot of the times. Maybe it's just that life is life and things change. I don't know, but I still need that.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize I needed that until I started podcasting.
That's so interesting.
That's what this gives me. Like I have to have that again. That is maybe my first step towards creativity, because I don't know, there's something about just like the lights, you know, are upon you, but like you can only hear what you can hear, and you hear like, you know, the sound of somebody's voice so clearly, and it's just like this connection, you know, like this deep conversation connection.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's so interesting.
How do you think that life turned out differently than you might have imagined so far? Like we're still young, like it's still going, like we're not that old, but we're not.
We're so young.
We're not like babies anymore.
Right.
So how do you think it is different than how you imagined it when we were younger?
Well, when we were younger, I imagined that we would marry brothers and live happily ever after. So, and we did marry brothers.
We did.
And sadly, there was a little, you know, the story didn't end happily. Well, I mean, you can't say that it didn't end happily ever after, but it was, it didn't end in the way that we had imagined it and dreamt about as kids.
Right.
And so I think that, to me, sadly, I feel like that is something that came between us a little bit, only because of just
how could it not?
How could it not?
I mean, I don't harbor any feelings about that, and I've definitely done my due diligence in understanding my own position and all of that. I never didn't understand where you guys were coming from, you or Josh, who I love, you know. To me, it was when divorce happens, and obviously that was not the way any of us would have hoped or dreamed or wanted or thought through, but when that happens, it tears families apart. The good news is it didn't tear us apart forever. The bad news is it was a very big hiccup in our lives for a long time. Yeah. And you didn't have a choice. Yeah. I mean, I knew that at the time. Like, I understood that. Yeah. In my mind, I didn't think I did either. You know? I mean, of course I did. I didn't have to get divorced. But to me, at that time, that's what I felt like I needed to do.
For sure.
And so And
I respect and support what you needed to do.
I know. And I and I think that it's interesting because I think it goes to show you that like family can still come back together. Like it can go through shit, like major shit, And that was not easy on any of us. Like, that was a horrible time in the entire Bernstein clan's lives.
Yeah.
And it didn't get better from there. But the love is there.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is. Like, it just is what it is. Other than that,
yeah,
like, if you just look at your life and
Yeah.
like, you always knew, you know, who you were and all of that stuff. Do you feel like it turned out different? Do you feel like, I feel like we're still evolving.
Yeah, for sure. I feel definitely like I'm still evolving. And I feel like one of the things that I keep talking to my own children about as they're becoming young adults is that they don't have to decide so quickly what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And I think I was so sure about what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And the years that I've been doing what I do, because I'm an educator and I'm a child advocate, I'm a passionate about early childhood education and remain that way. And I think I'll always be. But I think I thought that I would want to give everything I have to this one thing forever and ever.
Yeah.
And so I started very young, and now I still feel like I'm very young, but I don't know that I feel like there's more that I want to do.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more that I want to do, and then when I get to, you know, like when we're talking about friendship, I feel like I'm so invested in my work all the time that I'm not a good friend all the time.
Right.
I don't reach out to you and check in on you and see how you're doing, or other friends for that matter. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, I don't think I knew then that I would be feeling this way now.
I mean, it's funny because, you know, Shauna's about to leave, right? So I've got 3 weeks left. And, you know, I think I'm at this point where I believe that I'm at this point where I realize that her life is about her.
Yeah.
And that is going to be where I let it be right now.
Yes.
So I'm going to put my own shit aside.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make it easy. That doesn't make it hard. You know, she's obviously, we know she's moving out of the country for a year. She'll be in Israel, God willing. I haven't even been to Israel,
Mm-hmm.
which is a sin and terrible, but it's the truth. And it's like and this is where I feel, and again, you've got older kids and Rosie's already married, even though I know she's still young, but she's already married and you've gone through this for longer. But we've wrapped our lives, and I think women do this in general, we've wrapped our lives so much around taking care of, gotta do this, that in essence, inevitably, we lose pieces of ourselves.
Yeah.
Inevitably, we forget what we might want for dinner.
Yeah.
Do you ever?
Gosh, I don't know if I've really ever forgotten what I want for dinner. That's something I really don't have an issue with.
Well, and I know what it is. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like that element of not being attuned to yourself and whatever, to where suddenly you're like, now what?
Yeah.
Like, now what?
Yeah. And who am I?
Yeah. And then coupled by the fact that I think we both are very aware that life is short. I think we've been in that situation more than once to where, you know, from losing one of our childhood best friends in
Very
college
young. Yeah.
that should not have been in a car, and he was, and we don't know why he ended up deceased, to the loss of Jed and many other people. And I think we realize that life is short and that we have no idea of when it's going to be. And it kills me every day, and I'll just speak on myself for this, that I'm not maximizing my time.
Yeah.
And that brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that. I can very much relate to that. And I think that, I don't know, something about like approaching, can I say what we're approaching? Approaching 50.
Yeah.
Which
we still have a few years.
We still have a few years.
But we're
and I'm
there.
going to enjoy it.
I use it a lot, actually.
Yeah,
I do. I'm like, I'm almost 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something about, I feel like approaching 50 where I'm like doing a lot of soul searching. And one of the things, and this like brings me back to us as kids. One of the things that I know that we both thrived on was how much we loved to be around all different kinds of people,
right?
And to just have fun a lot. Like we just had a lot of fun. And yes, okay, so we have responsibilities and so of course life is not always just fun, right? But at the same time, there should be a lot of fun built in.
I totally agree.
Right?
Yeah, I've been calling it joy lately, but it's the same thing.
It's joy. Yeah, should be, and so that's where I'm just thinking about what are some of the things that I can do, and I do think that I have set myself up to where I am just in this like bubble, like comfort zone bubble that I'm, I work I've had the same job since I graduated college. Not the same. I've moved, into different positions in my job, but I have, I've been working in the same school since I graduated college. The school is a school that I went to growing up. My children all go to this school. It's within a 3-mile radius of where I actually physically like lived and grew up. And so I am in this, I feel like I've gotten myself into this like comfort zone bubble.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm not, I don't think I'm maximizing who I am and what I could do.
Right.
And that's where I think that I want to try some new things and try to find that joy again. Not that I don't find joy in what I do, but it's just a different kind. It's just a different kind. It's like that risk-taking, uncomfortable sense of
adventure.
Adventure, exactly.
You know what? It came to me when you were saying this, because we said how different we were. And I thought about the fact of, well, I've been in the same job the whole time, and I've been doing the same thing the whole time. Like, that's what we have in common. Like, we're totally like these reliable, we stay on track, we stay on course, we're pleasers, we're both pleasers. Meaning like we want to fix other people's problems and we're good at it. And so everybody comes to us in different capacities. And so we have those things in common for sure.
Yeah.
For me, and I won't speak on you, but for me, I feel suffocated. I'm not telling anybody that you do. I would never say that. And I have not said that out loud.
Wow.
But I feel today was a day where I experienced this element, and, namely in the property management element of what I do. Sales is actually joyful for the most part. But this property management essence of what I do, and no offense to my beautiful residents, and, they get the best of me, but where I just feel like I'm just constantly massacred by solving so many problems all the time that I am not completely able to solve, right?
Yeah.
So, and I feel tired. Like I feel exhausted by it. That is, and I think some of it is just the repetition and the monotony. And it's like, it's nobody's fault. Nobody did anything wrong. It's just time to move on. It's time to do something else. It's time to shake it up a little bit. It's boring. It has been. Okay. You've been sitting in the same office for 25 years. Move on, so there's some of that.
Yeah.
And there's some of like this element of like what we were talking about, which is I remember Pat, who worked with me for a long time. She said to me one time, she's like, Carrie, you're a creative being. Like, you need to be creating. And I looked at her, I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not creative. What do you mean? She's like, you are a creative. What do you love interior design. You're great at it. You're this, you're that. That was her version.
Mm-hmm.
And I was totally disconnected from that theory.
Mm-hmm.
But if I think of myself with you as a child, that is exactly what I am.
Yeah.
So why am I not creating? I mean, I am, but like, why am I not creating more? Like,
right.
Why am I staying stifled in this? Let me handle all these problems all the time and use all my energy up so that there's none left to create.
Yeah.
Why? What is that?
It's comfortable.
I
think it's because it's comfortable, which is
that's right.
That's where I am. I'm in a place that's very comfortable.
Right.
So.
And you don't want to let anybody down.
Right.
And you don't really know how to do that, and so you just stay.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But definitely you are very creative, and we were very creative together growing up. Oh my gosh, like the amount of Broadway musicals we put on in your house. And
the singing, the dancing.
Yes, exactly.
The making this, the drawing that. I mean, everything we did was creative.
Yeah.
Journaling. I mean, we did a bunch of everything. I mean, we just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting how you, like you said, you had this like one aspect of this dream. I didn't necessarily have the dream, but I followed along the lines of what was asked of me. Mm-hmm. And so just slowly, as through time,
and you're so good at what you do.
I am.
You're good at what you do.
I am.
So that's like,
so and you're the best.
So that's the thing too, is like when you're really good at what you do and what you, and whether it's like the product you're providing or the service that you're providing or you're really good at what you do. I know I'm really good at what I do. And so, and I don't,
comfortable, though.
It keeps me comfortable. I don't know that I'm good at other things. I know I have a lot of ideas about things. You can ask my kids. I have concocted probably 25 different restaurants in my head. I have, and 50 plus businesses. Like I have all kinds of ideas that I'm constantly, what if I did this? What if I, I have a very entrepreneurial mind, but, I'm very comfortable with where I am because I know I'm good at what I do. So
you know what came to me though when you said that, and you're not just good at what you do, you are the best, which is why they groomed you, because there was nobody. I think it just got super lucky, and the person before you was unbelievable
amazing
too. So they've been lucky all the way through.
A queen.
I do know this. Now, whether or not I know it, or just know it to say it is a different story, because I've learned that about life, that you can know it by speaking it, but do you really believe it? That there's a difference there in that depth and that ability to really feel it. But what I do know to say, at least, and I know this for sure for you, no matter what is, I do think we would be good at anything. You know why? Because we care so damn much about everything.
Yeah.
And so you couple the fact that, you're smart and you care and you're going to try 150% and you're never going to let people down, and you couple all those things together and you cannot not be good at anything.
Right.
The question is, where do you put your efforts? Right. And so that becomes the motto, I guess, is where do you I think you and I were sort of talking about this recently, but I think something that I have been learning, and I'm slowly trying, but not maybe there yet, is I think the only way to like bring that creativity back is just to try bunches of things.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
And not worry if you're not good at it, or if it doesn't work, or if it doesn't resonate, or what. It's like, okay, I tried. But that's going to be the hardest thing for you and I, because at least for me, maybe you'll say differently about you, but for me is because I want to know all the time.
Yeah.
See, I got to know. Like, I always want to know where I'm going. Like, where am I headed? Like, where am I going? Like, what? And so for me, to not know is like
scary.
That's the terrifying thing.
Yeah.
That's like the what? I mean, huh?
Yeah. So for me, I get excited about thinking about new things that I could try, but I still have butterflies in my tummy when I think about it.
Right.
But I get excited about it. So it's like a nervous-sided, you know, like I'm nervous and excited.
Yeah.
But I think that the excited trumps the nervous.
That's good.
You know? And I'm like, I'm starting to try things, you know? I'm starting to try things. And when
she put out a post on TikTok. That's all I'm going to say.
I did.
I almost lost my damn mind. And I didn't even say anything to you. I was like, no way.
I didn't even know that anyone saw it. I need to do it more, actually. But
I loved that, though, because it was so vulnerable and yet so happy.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like vulnerable, like, it was like, I'm just going to try this because I don't know what I'm doing. So, hey, guess what? Like, you know, it's just very you.
Yeah.
And a lot of smiling and whatever. And you just talked your way through it. And there it was. And I was like, I was literally thinking like, okay, now I got to do one. I haven't done it yet, but like, now I got to do one because like, if she can do it, like, I know I got to do it. But it really takes, like you said, that set of balls that you go for right then and there.
Totally. And I'm starting to realize that I have some balls.
You do have balls.
And so,
you always did.
Yeah. And
lots of them.
Yeah.
Big ones.
Lots of big balls. Yeah. So,
right? No, because I mean, you were the girl. Like, you were the girl that would call the boy.
I would. Yes.
You didn't care.
And for you. And
you would call for me because I was, do you see?
Yes.
That's the pleaser.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the pleaser. I'm the one that's like, oh, what if they say no? What if they think I'm fat? You know, back then it was, what if they think I'm fat? You know, but it's like, you just did. And I'm telling you, like, I completely looked up to that in you. Like, I wished, but for some reason, and I'm probably because I had you, like, I never, you know, Melissa Reitman used to do that for me as well. She'd be, I was driving that station wagon and I used to like, we would be driving and I would go all the way down in the station wagon and we'd drive into school and she'd be like,
that's hilarious.
She didn't even have her license, but that's the car I had for the first year. And I was so embarrassed to drive it to Pierce.
Yours was better than mine. Do you remember mine? Mine was orange and brown.
Yours was the worst.
Okay. Yeah. Mine was the worst. And it had things poking into the butt.
It was the worst.
I mean, it was the worst.
It was the worst.
The ceiling was falling down. Okay.
Yeah, it was the worst. We drove station wagons and that in itself is the worst, but it was the worst.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I think I've always hidden behind the people that were strong enough to like stand, you know, to like stand up for themselves because I was like, I'm embarrassed. What if the seniors see me and they think I'm a tool? Yeah. Well, you are a tool, so get over it, you know? Like, I was, you know, in 10th grade. Who cared? Yeah.
Yes. I definitely think that that's something that I didn't really worry about so much as what other people thought. Because I really I don't think I've really ever worried about that.
I would agree.
But I worry about what I think. You know, I worry about what I think. And because like you described us, which so perfectly as like pleasers and you know, part of that I think was also like pleasing ourselves and wanting to know that we're, you know, good at the things that we're trying and that we're going to be successful. And so I think that is one of the things that has held me back from trying things all the time, you know, trying new things. But I'm ready to not be held back anymore.
Yeah.
So I really, you know, I'm really, I mean, even thinking like with my husband, Josh, when we are, you know, making plans, what should we do tonight? What should we do over the weekend? Like, let's try to go somewhere that we've never been before. And
is he all in for it, by the way?
Yeah.
He probably is.
He is. So, and let's try to talk to people that we wouldn't normally talk to. And let's just learn about different people. And it's actually exciting. And it actually, I feel like it builds endorphins, you know, like that kind of excitement just builds endorphins and just gets you more excited to keep doing that. So I feel like I want to ride that wave a little bit. And one thing that I know is important, and I've been actually, as I'm getting ready for this new school year and everything, I've been doing a lot of training on, you know, what's right for children and everything. And what's clear is that play is play is what is right for children. Our children, we're not trying to help them become adults. We're trying to help them be children. Do you know what I'm saying? So they very much need to play, but so do we. Like we have been born playful beings, and it's important for us to play. And when we don't play, there's a lot of things that start happening to us, even emotionally, that can be unhealthy. So whatever play looks like, like you were talking about, play could be exercise,
right?
But play, it has to bring you joy, right? Like if you're somebody who exercises and you do it because you just know you have to exercise because it keeps you healthy, but it doesn't bring you joy, then that's not play,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important for all of us to think about what brings us the kind of joy that we would feel when we were kids playing. Ooh. And we need to do more of that.
Man, that struck me. It's true though. I mean, it's so true. It's like children get to do this. There's the rules. Children get to do this, but when you're an adult, you have to act like an adult. And to act like an adult means, you're responsible and you make money and you take care of your children and, you this is what you do. And you're right. There's zero attention to fun and play and whatever.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you neglect your responsibilities. No, it just means that we have to be really conscious of making sure that we do things that bring us joy, that make us, that feel playful, whatever that looks like, because play can look like all kinds of things to different people. But then it goes back. When I think about play, I go back to us playing. Yeah. And the kinds of ways that we would play and create, and that's what playing can do for an adult person too. That's where creativity is born, is through play. Yep. And through getting your hands on and your mind on different kinds of, whether it's materials or just experiences, that's how we just continue to create and think critically. And so that's why it's so important that we bring that into our lives. And that's really, I think, what I want to spend a lot of time focusing on is,
what? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You know what I thought about though, when you're saying that, is like my mind actually opened up, and that's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So like, I think that when you think about, well, you're playing, or, you're in crafts, or you're whatever it is, like you said, it could be a million things. You love to eat or cook or, what have you, that when you allow yourself that freedom in your mind and you're not putting it in a box and what do I have to do? And then all of a sudden I felt that expansiveness that your brain would of course experience, because all of a sudden you're drawing and you're not used to drawing, and then your mind runs away with you and it just expands. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when was the last time that you drew or painted a picture or whatever? Like, you're right. It for most of us, it just doesn't happen. Right. What are, like, when you think about play or those experiences, like, what comes to your mind first? Like, of things you would want to try? And maybe you haven't even been able to think that far, but.
No. I do think about it. So, one thing I'm trying right now, and this is how I play as a grown-up. One thing I'm trying right now is I just got a new smoker, so I'm learning how to.
You're an amazing cook, though.
But amazing. This is new for me. I've never had one before, and so I'm learning all about different kinds of things that I could put on the smoker, and how long, and how I nurture it, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's a way that I'm playing right now. But what are some other things? I would love to. I also often think of Mr. Rogers, Mr. Rogers when I think about these types of things, because he would go to all different kinds of places. He would go to a farm and learn how they milk cows. You know what I'm saying? And it would be so interesting and fascinating. I think I watched Mr. Rogers until I was way too old to watch Mr. Rogers. And I even would still watch Mr. Rogers today, because I just find, there were so many amazing lessons and the things that he had to teach. But it's just that time that you give to learning about something that you don't know about already. And so, you know, like I said, I got this smoker. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, I want to go meet different, what would you call them? Like smoke masters, right? Pit masters, and spend the day with them, watch what they do, ask them questions. You know, I'm a very curious person. So anything that I can do to just really almost like tickle my curiosity and spend time with somebody who might be have like a talent or be a master at something that I'm just really interested in, that to me feels fun and joyful. So that's the kind of thing that I feel, I talked about it with regard to the smoker, but I think that there's all different kinds of, you know, people and that are creative and doing things that are exciting to me, you know, and I want to know more about them and about what they do, and then even see if that's something that gets me excited that I want to do more of.
It's funny because I think about like the whole essence of like this podcast and what it's for, and because I can't even think that far, which is so weird, but I am so not in my creative space. This is the only piece of creativity that I get, which I love. It's my favorite thing to do in the world, like have a conversation. But that's the whole essence of what we're trying to pull out, right? Is these are creative leaders. Like, what's that like?
Yeah.
Like, what's it really like? Like, what is it like to have a day in your life? Like, does it really feel the way I think it does? And what do you teach people? And how do they learn? And so that's the exact thing. But it does take time to like get there. So like, you know, it's like, what would I, you know, like I don't even know what creative elements. It's like I just have to like go down the list. They're all somewhat interesting, but you know, what's going to be like that thing that you really want to do?
Yes.
You know?
Or even just knowing about, again, like people who are excited about the things that they're doing and wanting to just understand that a little bit more, and sort of it's almost like borrowing from their passion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
in a really good way, where you're hoping that you give them a little bit back too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes. But it's like you want to just like feel their energy. And their excitement. And then that might inspire something inside of you that you want to, you know, that you want to try and feel excited about too. So, whether it's the same thing or something different, you know, like you just never know what where any experience is going to take you.
That's true.
That's like, that's what that right now is what makes me feel excited.
Right.
And
what you need.
Yeah. And that's the kind of play that I feel like I need.
Right. I get that. Yeah. Now I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do?
I know. What should I do first? That's the list I want to make. Maybe that's my like kind of bucket list.
I love that.
You know?
I'm going to make a bucket list too. That's exactly right. Like, what do I want to do? I'm really going to have to think about it. I love that.
I can make a list of like 10 or 20 things and check them off as I do them. And then when I get to the end of them, you know, hopefully I'll start a new list.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about like movement and like hiking and things like that, where I'm like, I could just get into hiking for a while. Like that would be really fun. You know, look at the lake. John was talking about just being like at the lake and watching people like in their 70s, like exercising, and how amazing, it's just how inspiring it is to watch people that actually put their health first. Yes. And, you know, I mean, we know because we had a mother-in-law who was that way and lived that way. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to really play. It doesn't have to be, I think we think of like art and like stuff art like that, games. Which is wonderful. Yeah. But like there are a lot of different ways to play, or just maybe just be. Yeah. So I want to, okay, it's going to be like you and I could talk for 60 years and sit here, but I want to end with this because I've been really, really thinking about this. I want to say thank you I want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for me, because of me, anyways, without thinking about it. Thank you so much for just literally being you. Because of you, I know that. I have thought about that so many times, that the essence of how I became is because of our friendship. And I don't take anything from anything else, but it was so important to me. And I love you more than I could express and more than you will ever know. And I am so, so, so grateful for you. And I want to end my life, not that we're ending it anytime soon, please God, but I want to go back to where we started. So I'm really excited about that, because I know we're not going to be together. We can't, we have separate lives.
Yes.
But the thought of having a little bit more of you in my life is the best news ever.
For me too. And I love you too. I do. And
Thank you for being with me.
This is the best day. This is the best day in a long time.
I love it. And I love you. And I love the fact that we're going to do this.
Me too.
So watch out, folks. Here we go.
That's right.
All right.
Thank you, Care. Mwah.